Gen.G versus G2 for top 8.
Gen.G staked their claim in Rotterdam as the new class of North America, but the old guard is back and the G2 army continues its long march towards redemption.
Oh, and it is a long march, and just like Gibbs said, at this point, you throw the World Championship points, the season points out the window. All that matters now is winning.
This is going to be such a tight match. The desk, not so split as chat, almost 50-50. This matchup gonna be just a razor-thin margin. You heard him talk about the stats. I mean, they're just so close in almost everything. But what matters is the experience. James, we were talking earlier. Old winter major champs are G2 last season and Gen.G won fall. So both have that LAN experience, but who's gonna come out victorious here?
Yeah, you're right. And you know, the major winners from North America representing, but even just looking at the experience at the World Championship, JNAPS is such a veteran, 109 games in the World Championship on LAN. Chronic only 6, and Nolly shutting me up here with the first goal of game 1. Gen.G out on top.
Just great placement here from Nolly as Abjack just dumps that one off of the glass. And Nolly goes backdoor on the defender, and Gen.G with the early lead here in game number 1. But this is a long series, and G2 had the benefit of just dominating through the wild card. Can they continue with that balled up lightning that they seem to have found?
And you see a chance here developing for Gen.G. There was a team bump at the midfield from G2, tripping over each other a little bit, but now a chance. Atomic, the backward pass. JNAP slows it down. Was looking for an opportunity there. A nice cut at the midfield by JNAP. This will be another chance potentially, but Chronic handles that nicely out to the corner.
And still, G2 with the pressure, and apparently Jack is trying to launch this one past midfield. Good 50 there from Chicago. Ends up neutral at midfield as we go to the corner play here. And G2, when you're watching them play, don't expect to see any type of game plan against Gen.G. Earlier today, I was talking with JNAPS and kind of asked him, hey, what's the secret to taking down Gen.G? And he said, honestly, as long as we're playing in our flow state, we're going to beat them. So if you see them with those crisp, clean rotations, that's when you have to worry if you're a Gen.G fan.
And you know, you're right, or T-Bates was right as well. The last time these two matched up, G2 was able to get that victory, but the success this season, without a doubt, has been in favor of Gen.G. Gen.G, the hottest team in the world at the beginning of this season. They made 5 straight regional grand finals. They won the first major of this season. But now this is the home stretch. This is when it really matters at the World Championship. And this next step would be a big one. The winner of this series getting to go to the final phase of the World Championship.
Winner here, guaranteed top 8. $100,000 for each team in the top 8, guaranteed. Not a bad chunk of money, but all of these players, I think they would do it for free at this point just to hoist that trophy in the air. And G2 Esports gonna try for the 3rd time in the grand finals, and I think all the fans out there are wondering, is the 3rd time the charm for this team?
Yeah, but it's a long road. There's many hurdles. Gen.G is a massive hurdle for G2. G2, like Gibbs said, not the best season for them. Really trying to have success when it matters most.
And it's so impressive what Gen.G were able to do with that cross-region transfer from apparently Jack and Nolly. Just being able to come and find immediate success as Chicago denied by Nolly there. And speaking of Nolly, he was very vocal on social media about his teammate not getting MVP. The amount of respect Nolly has for apparently Jack is so apparent. No pun intended there, as Chicago dump off pass, no one home, as G2 have just over 80 seconds remaining here in game number 1. Still searching for their first goal of the series, but they are maintaining pressure here. And apparently Jack does well with that one to get towards midfield.
And you see the lead block, and Nolly. Nolly looked like he got a piece of JNAPS, but Atomic was still able to rotate back in time. However, G2 not been able to find a way through. Gen.G setting up this defensive wall.
And Nolly usually is the spearhead for the offense of Gen.G. He's tied for 6th out of all 72 players, and he gets the save on the goal line there, holding down the fortress for Gen.G Mobil 1. 40 seconds to go here. G2 just seems like whatever they throw at the net continues to be denied, and is Nolly gonna catch up to this? No, it's gonna roll up. G2 get away with one there as 30 seconds to go.
Chronic opting to lay off that ball. Big play there for Nolly. Nolly to get the best clear out, and you saw Chronic having to dodge the bump, gets back into the net. Fantastic defensive positioning there from Chronic to make that play.
And for G2, time to go all in. This bomb downfield off the glass. JNAP's denied by apparently Jack. Less than 10 here. They have to march the full length of the field. Looks like a great 50 from Atomic, but Chronic not giving up, and this ball cannot hit the ground, and Gen.G Mobil 1 gonna take away game 1.
Strong start here for Gen.G and a heck of a game for Nolly. I thought Nolly really stood out in that game, getting that first goal, the only goal of the game, and then also defensively making some nice stops. But that last play as well from Chronic, quite important. You saw, had to dodge that bump and was able to do so and get that save. This game really close, as this was the only goal scored early on, just in the first minute. So that Mobil 1 high performance replay relatively short. And then this play there, you also saw Nolly trying to make that bump happen. We saw a few different looks. And that play there, I don't know how Nolly got back to that save. That was such an incredible effort from Nolly.
I mean, he comes down off the ceiling like a guillotine and just pinches it off of the floor. Great defense from Nolly. We know that he has that in him, and we know that he has those demos as well. And interestingly enough, we talk about Chronic. He's one of those young guns coming in, so instrumental to this team's success. But you see him off the pitch, and he's so nice. And it follows onto the pitch as well. The least amount of demos of all the players here. Will the aggression ramp up for them, or are they just going to continue to play this play style?
You know, I think and a lot of times it's just responding to what the team is putting out in front of you. And I think right now, G2 is the team that really needs to respond. We saw comfortability from Gen.G on defense. There were a few tight calls. There was that save from Nolly, the save from Chronic, which could have, gone awry, but somehow they were able to make those saves. However, G2 shut out this first game. And Nolly, he scored that last goal. Normally, he's the one you look to be that passer. Such good vision. You even see that pass over to Chronic to set up this attack.
And Nolly, he generally averages most assists per game for this squad. So I agree, seeing him get those goals, a rarity, but a welcomed sight from Gen.G Mobil 1. And for G2, game 1, a feeling out process. But you don't like to see it, as typically for them, when they lose game 1, they go on to only win 25% of the series that they're in. So let's see if they can turn the tides and go against the percentages here, as Chicago gets a flip reset, gets the pinch off the wall, but well read by Chronic to deny the offense from G2.
But already we're seeing demos from Gen.G defensively, trying to throw G2 back and get that space back at the midfield. And it looks to be working here. That's an open opportunity, and Nolly will slot it.
Again, right place, right time for Nolly, and nobody home for G2 as JNAP's caught on an island, went for the lone boost pad, and it was wide open.
Well, it was a result from those defensive demos. It pushed G2 all the way back. Only one player was there at the midfield, and when that 50 was won straight off the ceiling, you had that whole big gap that was created from those demos allowing the shot. And Nolly continues to have a fantastic performance in this series. That goal was slotted.
Right now, looks like an open net, but apparently Jack able to close up in time. And G2 playing very spread apart. A lot of space afforded to Gen.G Mobil 1. Maybe if they start to tighten things up, it'll work out better, but here comes the plays. Passing off is denied by Chicago. And again, we haven't seen too many infield passes from G2. Something they're so well known for, and Gen.G, you heard Jack, the most analytical trash talk, but when you're going up against one of the greatest minds in Rocket League, he's gonna sniff those out from a mile away.
Oh, certainly. I think Jack is one of those players who loves to be upfield, loves to, a lot of times, just leave the ball, let his teammates take it as he goes for bumps, goes for boost steals. And he was always a threat in the air, in the middle of the field as well, with Nolly passing. But Gen.G, they really have so many weapons. You're seeing Nolly is the big offensive threat so far. He's the one who's been putting in these goals. And then, Chronic He's hit some pretty incredible shots against G2. So there really is a threat all around from Gen.G, whereas G2 so far has not been able to have much success at all.
Oh, halfway through game number 2. So far, only 2 shots on target. G2 slow out of the gates, but so far they've shown they are the thoroughbreds of this tournament. And again, where is that success that we saw through the wild card? That 3-0 team that was just dominating. Yet to show up here, and Gen.G just rotating through, continuing to keep pressure on this ball. Apparently Jack gets that full boost pad. Great comms there to leave it off for Chronic as well, and no pressure from G2.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about with apparently Jack. He can recognize when there's that space to mix it up. Try to be unpredictable. Throw the defense off, and Nolly! No, I didn't think Nolly would be able to get control of his car again. He looks so awkward flipping around. You see him win that right there. Immediately gets back down to the ground. Might have even gotten his flip off that and wave dash over that. I mean, that was a crazy play there from Nolly. He is in the flow state. You talked about G2 being in flow state. Well, guess what? Nolly's already there, and he's not letting anyone else in.
Nolly has found his chakra here in game number 2. All 3 of Gen.G's goals so far in this series off of his hand to Chicago, trying to get one for G2. Still, the shutout continues as Chicago elects for a back pass, not gonna find his mark. And Atomic sends apparently Jack all the way back to the orange half, and that's gonna fall right into his lap. And let's see what the young man does with it. Just pushes it forward, and again, the infield pass is sniffed out by apparently Jack. He's so wise beyond his years, but can G2 finally get one to go? JNaps goes high, it's off the crossbar, and Atomic denied as Chicago tries to slow it down, and the changeup not gonna work for G2.
Chronic in the right place at the right time. That's the second big defensive stop we've seen from Chronic. Not enough boost for Atomic on that play. And you see the passing lanes being read here by Gen.G. Nothing's fooling them.
There are no passing lanes right now. No parking allowed here. It's all red curbs. There's 45 seconds to go here in game number 2. G2 need one right here, right now, if they want a chance at tying up this game. As JNaps slows that one down, and welcome sight by Gen.G. They'll gladly just let this ball float in midair. Precious moments ticking away, and Gen.G looking like they're about to go up 2-0, and Atomic bails on the Rule 1. Will it come back to haunt them?
And you know, not even that, but the fact that Chronic took 2 players out of the play, getting around one, then tying up the second in that Rule 1, however short-lived it was. Chronic having a great defensive game. G2 still have yet to score, and we still won't see one.
Wow. A defensive masterclass so far from Gen.G as the ball hits the ground. And we could possibly be halfway through this series as 2-0 for Gen.G. Nolly looking cool and comfortable.
And Nolly, the man of the hour, and now all the pressure on G2, who we played 2 full games now. G2 is still yet to score. Where is the team passing play? Where is the threat? Atomic only had 160 points this game. JNaps didn't even manage to put a shot on target. G2, they've got to figure something out. And I just got word that G2 calling a timeout right now, and it is much needed.
Yeah, one of the best coaches in the game, Sathu, elects to use a timeout for his team here. Very curious what words will be spoken behind those closed doors to try and figure out how to break through this defense.
Save.
And that save was incredible. The reads from Chronic have been great, but honestly, I keep flashing back to the saves that we've seen from Nolly that immediately transitioned to the offense for his team.
Oh yeah, Nolly is everywhere at the moment. You can see Nolly flying around the pitch, that little touch there. I wish I didn't have the best angle on it when I was looking, but Nolly making that touch past the defender, recovering so perfectly to score on a tight angle. Nolly is on fire right now, and usually with Gen.G, a lot of times you'll expect apparently Jack, Gibbs was talking about it, only behind Vatira when it comes to scoring on RLCS LAN events, and you expect the same here, but no, it's been all Nolly, and that is really something for Gen.G. I think that's going to boost their confidence even more when they feel like they might have a few extra tricks up their sleeve that they're not even having to pull out at the moment. Yeah,
there have been times where people have talked negatively about what Nolly brings to this Gen.G roster, and I've always kind of shook my head at those statements because he is the rock for this team. He holds down that back line, and in the biggest moments, that's when he steps up, and that's what he is doing here. As still, G2 talking things over, trying to figure out how they can take a game away from Gen.G, trying to avoid being put on match point.
And we've seen a few times now where Gen.G has predicted the passing lanes. They've jumped out. We've seen Chronic dodge some bumps to get some saves, also jumping out where he thinks the shot's going to come. You know, I think we'll need to see G2 bring a little bit of unpredictability. I don't know how they're going to bring that element, but as of right now, Gen.G has them read.
I'll tell you, one way to cause unpredictability is the only RNG in the entire game, which is demos. Force you into an awkward spawn all the way back in your own half, and I'd love to see the aggression ramp up from G2.
And we did see that work for Gen.G against G2 when they got those defensive demos that opened up the midfield. That resulted in one of the few goals that we've seen in this series, but we still have not seen anything out of G2. There's a demo. Will this be the first? JNaps walks it in.
And finally comes at the hand of JNaps. The most tried and true member of G2 Esports gets one to go early in game number 3. Atomic gets involved as well, and Gen.G able to get the...
And it was the result of that demo. That demo completely opened up that opportunity. So G2 already mixing it up. Maybe that was the adjustment that they were going with, already finding that window to attack to get that demo. But we see a response here with Chronic taking out Chicago.
It actually benefits Chicago, sends them all the way back to defense where the ball was sitting. This ball sitting top of the box. And what a great challenge down, as apparently Jack read that one and sneaks that one right by Chicago as well with the back pass. We talked about his ability to read lanes and just read where the game is going. Flip reset for Nolly, and my goodness, is he feeling it as Chronic tucks it in.
This is the result of pure confidence from Nolly. He's going for it. He sees 2 defenders in net. He doesn't care. He's just trying to mix it up. Nolly is a team player. He recognizes there's a really low chance that this goes in, but if you can generate that rebound opportunity, you put your team in a great spot.
Well, it's that unpredictability that you were talking about, but it's from the hand of Nolly. You don't expect the shot to go in, you're right, but it causes defenders to jump in the air, they're taken out of the play, and you never know where that rebound's gonna land. As Nolly, big save on that shot from Atomic there as Chicago gets the bump on the wall, but no problem for Chronic as he pushes it all the way to midfield and forces G2 to completely reset here. And again, just pandemonium on the blue half as this ball still lingering as JNaps pushes forward, but Nolly doing a great job of cutting the lanes, and that's the name of the game for Gen.G right now. Just cut those passing lanes and just completely disrupt the G2 offense.
The double flip reset from Chronic. Feeding that out into the middle. Now Nolly will have a chance. Passes down.
Great
but
steal.
JNaps was in a better position. Chronic not really in the right spot to receive that pass. Now JNaps with a pinch pass across the front of net. It was in a very dangerous spot, but no one from G2 was pushed very far up.
Yeah, you saw Chicago getting aggressive there. Not only did he get the bump on apparently Jack, but he also got the boost grab. Thought it was going to turn into a goal for G2, but because he was up, Atomic was unable to push up as well. Had to cover midfield as Atomic has JNaps waiting, but that pass off of his mark there. But here comes G2. They're reset in the offensive half, and just like that, Chronic rips it away, neutral 50-50. It looks like Gen.G gonna get an opportunity here as apparently Jack does get the boost steal. Nolly looking to back pass, but ripped away by Atomic.
Good block there from Atomic. And you saw apparently Jack doing that exact thing, moving upfield to steal that G2 boost. But now Gen.G pushed all the way back. Nolly trying to spearhead this assault. Slowed down, but the ball finds its way over to Chronic. Chronic drop pass to Jack. It surprised, I think, everybody. Jack barely had enough boost to get to that ball.
Oh, that's got to be it.
And now a touch from Chicago. Oh! Pitch save off the bar from Chronic.
Way to get up and go for Chronic, but they're not done just yet as Chicago launches another on target. And here comes Atomic to roll this one down. Apparently Jack cleans it up, gets the ever needed touch, doesn't get the touch there, and Gen.G out of murky waters just for now.
G2 though, they're boost starving. You saw Chronic suffering. He managed to get a single small pad. This is that G2 vice grip that teams can find themselves in. But will G2 convert?
Very low on boost. Management starting to become an issue right now as Nolly just boosted up on the weak side as Chicago keeps this ball alive for G2. Awkward touch from JNaps. Chronic able to read it though as JNaps, demoed by Nolly, sent all the way back. And Gen.G gets demoed there, but they're able to finally get out, and Chronic comes in for the dunk of the century.
Massive dunk from Chronic. Atomic makes a nice play getting the demo, but then Panic clears that out. Perhaps needed to get some help. You saw Chicago, I think it was Chicago was in net there. It is so much safer for someone in net to hit that back out to the corner or to try to possess it out to the corner. You saw Atomic try to take that through the gut, and that is a very dangerous place to bring it.
It is a risky move to push that ball back into your own box. But here comes JNap trying to knot us all up. They've been able to do it once so far in the series. Get one goal, and that one off of its mark, and a great pass from JNaps to find Atomic waiting in the wings. And here comes Chicago, just pushes it towards net, and Atomic able to tie us up.
Great determination here from G2 to not give up. And Atomic, with the challenges, has that kick straight up off the ceiling. Honestly, a bounce you can't really predict. Chicago perfectly in the right spot. And G2 able to tie this up, and they really need this game. Must-win moment here for G2.
Chicago ripped that boost pad away, was able to steal it away from Chronic. He's still sitting on 0 in net. Will there be a follow-up? Chicago goes high. Great recognition that there's no boost on the defense, but Chronic keeps it out. And apparently Jack all the way down to the blue half. Awkward bounce, well read by JNap. Will they keep this ball up? Will they steal game number 3? No, we're headed to overtime.
This is the turning point, you feel like, for G2. Golden goal.
This is a massive moment for G2 Esports. You drop this game, 1 goal sends you to match point. If you get it yourself, it's a huge swing in the tide as JNaps cleans this one up. Atomic keeps it alive in the corner, but a great pinch out from Nolly, forcing G2 to reset, and Chicago dumps that one up to JNaps. Gets full boost himself, and the onslaught continues. Atomic keeps it alive. Awkward ball here from Chicago with the back pass to JNap. And apparently Jack can't catch up, and G2 get one.
Chicago with pass perfection gets to the ball, hits it just enough to give JNaps that space to weave it through. Chronic was challenging, but that pass out, very subtle hit, very light hit, but it was exactly what was needed to let JNaps hit that game winner. So G2, they respawn. We saw them after they called the timeout come out immediately, get the demo, get that goal that had been eluding them, and they find a way to win this game. This was not easy. It wasn't pretty from G2, but they did it.
Get it done however you can do it. Doesn't matter if it's dirty or clean. And a couple of demos from G2 Esports, but my goodness, when we look at the Mobile One high performance replay, it's just pure resolve from G2 Esports. They refuse to give up, and a brilliant back pass there from Chicago. Great IQ on the player, just able to find his teammate at a moment's notice.
And it looked like Nolly may have had that save. Apparently Jack, though, also dove at the same ball, so you could see how much that pass from Chicago really caused Gen.G to panic. And for Gen.G, I mean, you look back at these last 3 games, and Nolly has been on fire. Chronic got a couple goals this game. One of them was just the dunk goal. We really have not seen a lot of insane Gen.G offense, really, particularly from apparently Jack, who is the player that you would have expected to step up for Gen.G at this moment.
So far, apparently Jack, no goals in this series. He's had a couple of assists. But I agree, James, they have just been completely capitalizing on the mistakes of G2, just waiting patiently to pounce. And so far, it's worked well. But they did just drop game 3, and I am very curious to see all 6 players' demeanor here in game number 4.
JNap's trying to play keep away, doesn't manage to get the corner, and we'll give that over to Gen.G. Already a tough start here for G2. JNap's going to try to set himself up, sees Atomic downfield.
Oh, nice poke.
Atomic was going for a solo play.
Almost had the double there as well, as Chicago gets that one around Gen.G. Great read there from Chronic. Got up a light year ago, but JNAP's going close post, can't quite find it. And G2 looking very comfortable after a Game 3 win here already in the first minute. It looks like they're lurking in the shadows.
Oh, and there's a shot from Nolly. Well defended, but again, we see Atomic getting a lot of these demos. We saw him get a demo on the back wall. The play ended up not working out, but Atomic getting his hands dirty in his own half.
And an awkward touch there from Nolly, but it happens to work out. Fell in the lap of Chronic. We'll call it a back pass.
Well, I mean, it really was a back pass. Nolly has been doing that in this series and does it quite a bit. His awareness of where his teammates are is unparalleled. What? And Nolly continues his scoring spree on Gen.G, getting him this lead.
The onslaught for Nolly continues, showing off the mechanics, and nobody goes for G2, and he just says, all right, thank you very much, lads.
Nolly continues to step up. This has been a banner series for him, really. If Gen.G managed to close this out through these games, Nolly has been the best out there on the pitch, in my opinion, for Gen.G.
He's been the best on the pitch in general, out of both teams. I mean, and who would have thought it? You said it, that, you know, apparently, Jack, we're so used to seeing those flashy goals. He's known for his mechanics. He's known for his IQ. He really hasn't had to do too much here. Such a relieving sight if you're a Gen.G fan to have Nolly peaking at the perfect time, as JNAPs lost that one for a moment. Gonna clean it up in the corner as Chicago pushes it all the way forward. Great positioning from Chronic to keep this ball alive for Gen.G. And a great 50 there from Atomic. Chicago back to Atomic, on target, but turned away from Chronic. Right idea, but again, those lanes just so well read.
Well, Chronic gets up so early. He's been predicting these shot locations from G2 so accurately. That's not the first time that he's done that. So Chronic having a big series, sitting on that goal line, making big saves.
Already, midway through game number 4, G2, 3 demos as a team, 1 per each member, ramping up that aggression slowly, trying to take away the defense of Gen.G, but that's a good pass forward. That's a better pass back, and that one launched up to apparently Jack. This one rolling back down, denied is Chronic, and Nolly just gonna poke this one up, use a lot of boost to get up and go, and it just doesn't seem to stop for Gen.G, and finally, JNAP's able to get them back to midfield. Atomic coming in, good challenge from him. Chicago has no boost, didn't recognize it till the last second, but it got Gen.G a little confused on that back line, as apparently Jack can't do much with this. Chronic goes up, goes back down. We're at a stalemate. Seems like midfield starting to slowly become controlled by Gen.G. G2 Esports have about 80 seconds to go here to find one. Again, Gen.G just doing a great job at defense and that midfield control.
Oh.
No one goes, and that was the opportunity for G2.
It still might be a chance here for G2. You see Atomic reeling over for that demo, but Atomic did so well to beat the defender, to get that ball to bounce off the backboard, but there's been a few times now where we've seen G2 do all that hard work of generating a scoreable rebound, but not having somebody close enough to finish the job.
Big boost steal in the corner of Gen.G. It's gonna keep the offense alive for G2 Esports. Another demo sends one back to the far corner. It's just a nasty cleanup. I mean, where does that even come from?
You know, just one of those plays, but that clear actually relieving so much pressure when G2's had a lot of time on attack. Great first touch from Atomic. He's going for the backboard, gets bumped off the ball. Atomic starting to get antsy, also amping up his pressure.
Now's the time to send the kitchen sink. 15 seconds to go in game number 4. Match point waiting in the wings for Gen.G. Nice far pass. No one home, and this is going to be an opportunity for Chicago as Atomic gets turned away. They've got to keep the ball up. JNAP's going to go up the wall, and a great demo there as Chicago puts the shot high. It's gonna go off of the backboard, no one goes, and here comes Atomic. He's gotta get this one on target, can't get the touch, and G2 fall to match point.
They had the chance. G2 wore him down. There were multiple instances in this game where G2 wore down the Gen.G defense. They just needed that last shot. And Atomic, even on that last play, threatening the double tap, was trying to be perfect to weave it around the defense, ended up not making contact. Perhaps he was hoping that someone was going to be there for that backboard bounce. But G2 were not able to score this game despite those multiple opportunities. And look who it is who's the hero yet again for Gen.G.
It's gotta be none other than apparently Jack. So many times. Did he not get the MVP?
I was going to say Nolly. No, Nolly, he scored the goal.
Well, he got
MVP by 4 points.
Yeah, that counts. He did more work. A goal's worth more.
No, I think Nolly, to me, clearly the MVP. And then Chronic also has been indispensable on the goal line. You're seeing these saves on the Mobile One high performance replay, his float saves. Apparently Jack has been good, but really the difference making plays, putting that ball in the net, has come from the bumper of Nolly. And you know, he right now is the man of the hour.
And it really feels like he's playing stress-free. Like there's no expectations on his team. Everyone's talking about how good G2's playing. Everyone's talking about Vitality. Everyone's talking about SSG. They seem to have forgotten our fall major champions. And Nolly's coming out here to prove a point. And will that point be made? Game number 5 underway. Gen.G looking to send G2 down to the lower bracket.
And the loser of this game, I believe, will have to play the winner of the Moist Phase series. So G2 might have to run the gauntlet of all the NA teams if they want to make it to the playoff phase.
Right now, G2 have to pull off a spaceman sweep to win this series. But if they can send it to Game 7, which right now is an eternity away, they do have a 100% win rate in those Game 7s all season long. But it is a long, arduous journey to get there. And how good would it feel for them if they could get an early goal? So far, JNAPS has got to go up. Great touch from him to send it into the corner. But so far, we've played 4 games, James, and they've been shut out in 3 of them.
Yeah, and again, the passing lane jump by
boy.
Nolly. There's the demo. It's a team effort. But I mean, we have to be honest here. Gen.G is reading G2 like a book.
Nolly just walks the dog into the park and puts Gen.G up by 1. They're playing so calm, so cool, so collected here. And my goodness, just seem to be undenied in this series. Nolly so far has been nothing short of incredible. 5 goals to his name, 1 assist. Just seems like his teammates spoke so many words to him before this series and told him how important he is to this squad.
And apparently Jack has been playing support. And sometimes that's what's needed. I mean, a lot of times you see Nolly fulfill that role, being the utility player, but that's been apparently Jack this series. You know, having that recognition when Nolly jumps that lane to instantly go for the demo, not wasting a moment. That was something else. I think apparently Jack, one of the smartest players in the game, reads the game so quickly as well. It came in handy there. Gen.G might have done enough if they can shut out G2 one more time.
And G2 still struggling to get out of their own half, as apparently Jack had to avoid the demo there. Smart play from Atomic. But again, the net just left wide open and Chronic punishes.
And time running out for G2. Atomic again was trying to make a play, but passed it right to Chicago. Really not sure what the call was on that. Nobody was really upfield ready for a pass. And normally you see players just hover behind the ball and take the 50 instead of hitting it away like that.
Interesting move there from Chronic, forcing G2 to push forward. Might be trying to get them out of position. We've seen a few times already that G2 have gotten a little antsy and mispositioned themselves, leaving that net wide open as Gen.G halfway through game number 5, up by 2. All they need to do is hold on, but much easier said than done, especially when you've got that young man behind the ball, JNAPS. Still searching for another goal here. And it would be nice for G2 Esports if Chicago could unlock that offensive potential. He is just a monster when he's shooting hot. Right now, in this series, no goals to speak of.
It has been a drought mostly for G2. They've been shut out so many games, in danger of being shut out once more. Someone has to step up right now.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Taken two, almost gets the ball to go. And Gen.G get back in time. Chronic deleted off the field. You can start to feel the urgency from G2 Esports, recognizing a goal sooner rather than later, as apparently Jack, he's a player's player, just playing so smartly in this series. All that hard work about to pay off as Nolly searching for another. And while he continues to get those goals, continues to be aggressive.
Oh, there's the bump!
And I didn't even see it! Nolly gets another one!
A great play from Chronic. He gets his flip reset, gets it past the first, bumps Chicago out of the way. Apparently Jack wasn't able to get his car on the ball, but fortunately for him, Nolly was right there, ready to clean up those scraps. Really a standout performance from Chronic and Nolly in particular. Chronic defensively, but even there, you're seeing the threat that he can pose, generating those rebounds. And Gen.G, it looks like they have done enough. Only a minute left. G2, though, they get one back. All hope is not lost.
Chicago gets its first, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Off of the passing play, great 50 from Atomic there to keep that ball alive in the box and keep G2 alive in this series. But they have 64 seconds to go here, and they need 2.
Oh, this will be a chance to solo play. Chronic will take it. Going for the dunk. Atomic will clear that over to the corner. But, you know, we rarely see G2 have that type of space.
Oh
there
gosh.
We see the shot, but a Chronic save again rears its ugly head. G2 has been tired of seeing that.
Oh, and just unfortunate bounce off that side wall. JNaps goes up, gets it above apparently Jack, and the onslaught continues. The double isn't there and turned away. 30 seconds to go. G2 continue on the offensive half, and here comes Chicago. The pass off the backboard. Atomic gets beat out to that ball. Completely have to reset downfield.
See what G2 can do in these final moments. Chicago on the dribble. There's a flick, but again, Nolly is there, intercepting that play.
And right now, Gen.G refusing to give up. Push this ball all the way back. And Gen.G Mobil 1 getting the job done and showing that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.